Guess what I just did?
Built a sandcastle?
Huh.
On a flat Earth.
I got more. 24/7 access online, on the phone, or with the Geico app.
It looks like there's actually a little bit of curve to the horizon in the Geico.
I just met with our National Security Council as part of our regular effort to review and intensify our campaign to destroy.
So this is a guy they're saying this guy's a male prostitute and his old lady is a dude.
Attack in Orlando.
Right, and they're saying that
his
mom was a hooker, he's raised by a pimp, his stepdad, and that he's himself
much of our work today.
Communist.
In all of our efforts,
and all his parents, all three of his parents are communists. Not only is he a communist, but he's related to every other president except for Van Buren and, you know, all of the British royalty, Dutch and Irish.
Harmed.
Negative blood type.
The friends of ours who are lesbian, gay, and bisexual and transgender who were targeted.
Obama is closer related genetically to my dog than he is to me. That's how black this motherfucker is.
And our allies.
Alright. Because, you know, domestic dogs were genetically spliced and then grafted by the Egyptians. And, you know, you can look at the ass end and the legs on a Rottweiler and tell that she's got human DNA. And that's why their hips are so bad. Of course,
it is increasingly clear, however, that
everyone knows about his hips.
Extremist information and propaganda over the internet.
You know,
he appears to have been an angry, disturbed, unstable young man who became radicalized. As we know,
he's talking about himself here.
Groups like ISIL.
You know, that's what he's doing is he's going through all of the little false flags. Those are just little passion plays of his own childhood that he's reenacting, trying to work through, you know, his own, you know, if you just follow the line of them, you know, Sandy Hook, Orlando, you know, they're just all little grand operas of Obama's childhood experiences with, you know, having his ass handed to him and then handing it back all the way through school, you know.
Have called on people around the world and here in the United States to attack innocent civilians. Their propaganda, their videos, their postings are pervasive and more easily accessible than we want.
You know, the great thing about YouTube is you don't look for it, you won't find it.
We are live from beautiful
And,
San Diego.
You know,
The site of tonight's Freedom Concert, and we have a big show in store for you.
let me just run you through some of this stuff. This is kind of like my first flat-chested Earth video. You know, and I don't know how well you can hear me here, but let me turn this down. This is that's a giant tree. All right, that tree was 60 miles tall, according to, you know, people on YouTube now. So that's one thing that. And then they're talking about perspective here. You know, the reason that we can't see, that we think the sun sets. You know, and that's a lot of what I've been doing here. Here you can see, you know, a big part of the flat-chested Earth is this theory that a gyroscope, which I'm starting to think that the flat Earth is either sitting on one or that the sun is spinning on one. You know what I mean? But a gyroscope, they put it in an airplane and it makes sure the airplane is level. And were that not true, if the Earth was curved, the airplane you'd be able to tell when you compared the gyroscope level, the false horizon with the altimeter. And so, you know, the Earth is flat as a pancake. And, you know, so a large part of this is that the Earth is flat, and, you know, Antarctica is a ring around the Earth, and the North Pole is North Pole is the center of our sort of pond. So it all matches up to biblical descriptions. Like they're finding out now, if you just take the Bible literally, everything is true. And that used to seem funny when you'd read creationist versus evolution theory and whatnot. See, now look at this.
Polaris, the North Star, sits straight over the North Pole at the highest point in the heavens, and like a slowly rotating planetarium dome, all the celestial bodies revolve around Polaris and over the Earth once per day. The Sun circles over and around the circumference of Earth every 24 hours, steadily traveling each day from the equator during the March vernal equinox up to the Tropic of Cancer at the June summer solstice, back down to the equator for the September
now
autumnal
notice
equinox,
how, if
and
you want to go from
Tropic of
California
Capricorn on the
to
December
China,
winter solstice.
it's just a
In the
straight
flat Earth
line.
model, the South Pole
That's
does
one
not
of the big
exist at
things
all,
that I want to
and
get across
Antarctica
here
during the March
is that
vernal equinox. In the flat Earth model, the South Pole does not exist at all.
there's
and
no
Antarctica is
trans-Pacific,
instead a gigantic ice wall extending the circumference of Earth, holding in the oceans
people
like a giant
think that
bowl
you have to go
for a
past
World
Hawaii
Cup.
to get to
As
China.
strange as this concept may
from
sound at first,
let
it
me
is a
turn this
fact
down.
that if you set a bearing
And people think that you have to pass Hawaii to get to China from California. There's a picture there of the Antarctica. It's a circle around the other continents. See how it's it goes all the way around. South is in all directions, right? The North Pole is the very center. And yeah.
Of the Antarctic regions is the forefront of the enormous glacier covering or ice cap, which, accumulating in vast undulating fields from the heavy snowfall and ultimately attaining hundreds if not thousands of feet in thickness, creeps from the continent of Antarctica into the polar sea. The ice barrier, yet a part of the parent ice cap, presents itself to the navigator who has boldness enough to approach its fearful front as a solid perpendicular wall of marble-like ice, ranging from one.
So what you need to understand, is that because the bottom of the globe is pinched so that everything gets smaller after this South Pole, or after the equator, until when in the southern hemisphere, they call the southern hemisphere, when you get to Antarctica, you're actually because it's flat, you're actually, anytime you travel south of the equator, if you use global coordinates, you'll be hopelessly lost, because the ocean gets larger in magnitudes, like a pizza slice past the equator in a flat Earth. Whereas in the round Earth, the ocean gets smaller in magnitudes, like a shrinking pizza slice south of the equator. And so that whole those missing bands of ocean all the way around, and the missing property of the lands to the south. The Africa and Australia, those places are massive. South America is massive because we pinched all that. Mostly they pinched the oceans, but these maps that we look at were made during the war or whatever. They want to try to make the United States look big. The United States is super, super small. South America is twice the size of North America. And Africa is probably 2.5 times the size of North America. Here it is right here. Let me get it on here and pause it. What I'm trying to show you here is this map is just insane. So you see it right here. If I can get it to come up in a big one here. For some reason I'm not getting that. And I'm using a GoPro cam here too, so if it seems a little weird, that's because of the camera. But you can see here's California, Oregon, Washington, Canada, Alaska, Siberia, Russia, Japan, and China.